about 100 meters off the coast of Hadera, which is off the coast of Israel, which is why he was swimming in the water, as opposed to if they had been down in the Gaza side, where they probably just would have laughed at what was happening. Unless, of course, it's an endangered whale shark, and then they'll drag it on shore, jump on it until it's dead. However, this 40-year-old man was in the water and started screaming that they're biting him. Dusty sharks, this is the first ever known attack of what was previously thought to be a harmless species of shark. Now, granted, the whale shark has no teeth. It's about as harmless as it gets, and that's why the Japanese hunt them. But it's never really smart to assume that something with the name shark is going to be harmless. And the general assessment of everybody who knows anything about wildlife is, you know what? If you hadn't got those sharks used to the idea that you were going to feed them, this man wouldn't have been swarmed and killed and then eaten. Because just like with deer, just like with coyotes, just like with bears, yeah, you can feed them and they'll take the food, and they may just take the food and wander away. You may luck out. But there may come a point where you show up in that area and you don't have food, and you've taught them to expect it. So guess what's the food source then? Now, granted, if you're dealing with an herbivore, it's not that problem, but a shark, a bear, a coyote, a raccoon, and I am guilty of feeding raccoons. But even I had it at one point where the raccoons around an apartment I had at one point, they got used to the idea that every Friday night I would come out after supper and give them the scraps of challah left over from Shabbat meals. One week we were away, and I had made this big joke to my husband that I had made a deal with the raccoons. I feed them every Friday. They leave my garbage and recycling bins alone. When I came back from that week, my garbage and recycling was everywhere. So even though I had made a joke about it, clearly the raccoons took it seriously. In fact, the one raccoon took it so seriously that he freaked out my cat, because I was on the ground floor, by showing up outside the window, and the cat that he was on the other side of the screen from was a Maine Coon cat. You guess what she wanted to do, even though she was 14 years old at the time? Either way, I am sorry this man died. I am. It shouldn't have happened. It's an unnecessary, wasteful death. But people do it.